Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. They aren't affected by tariffs because their clothing products never left the U.S. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com.
Welcome back to Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about her infamous song about a sewing machine. We are going to take this week and next week to dissect and explain her sewing machine song, line by line, showcasing how the thoughts in this podcast have been running through TR's mind for a long, long time. We will touch on concepts you will recognize, like higher purchasing and planned obsolescence of fashion, and also tease new topics that will be covered in the future, like whale oil and the decline of the Singer Company. You'll also get some sense memories from me, because I was a very small child during the period when this song was written. This week is going to be just the first half of the song, so I'm only going to play you the first half here today. If you want to know how the story ends before next week, you can visit the YouTube link in the description to hear the full song on the channel of Stagecoach Road's Vintage Sewing Machine, or you can buy the song for a very appropriate $3 on Bandcamp. Link for that will also be in the show notes. Now, disclaimer. I am not generally a huge fan of folk music, but this song is one of the few exceptions. I cry every time I hear it, in a good way. So settle back, perhaps find a tissue, and let's get into the song, and then the analysis.
I came off of the assembly line in 1899. Paid for by a farmer's wife, $3 at a time. Shipped out to Western Oregon, where the land was rich and green. Shining strong and ready to work, a new Singer sewing machine. Her feet were quick on my treadle, she made my needle fly. Shined me and she oiled me, said I was her pride. She made trousers for her husband, clothes for little girls and boys. And the whirring of my big flywheel was a welcome, joyful noise. Oh, she gave me to her daughter when that girl became a wife. And I was with her 50 years till the end of my good life. My paint was worn, my heart was strong, my stitches straight and fine. And I was sold at a county auction in 1969. Well, the auctioneer was a fine old man, he handled me with pride. Said his mother had one just like me, said I had no flaws to hide. We'll start the bidding, gather round, you all know the routine. It'll give me $50 for this Singer sewing machine. Well, no hands were raised, no bids were drawn, the crowd was looking bored. By an old black treadle stitcher whose paint and wood were worn. And no fancy stitches, no built-in light, no electricity. And people just don't sew much now, they get the clothes from factories. Oh, one man made a bid that day, $5 was his price. And no one counter-offered, no, the auctioneer asked twice. They chimed me in a long tin shed with others just like me. Rows and rows of obsolete like Singer sewing machines.
Okay, so that was a sewing machine song. That was written almost 30 years ago, the spring of 1995.
Wow.
Do you remember any of that time, Raid?
Spring of 95. Well, I recently was just given some kiwis from someone's winter fruiting kiwi vine.
Yes.
And it flashed me back to literally the heavy sense of early summer, late spring, eating kiwi at that house. So more or less, yes, I do remember that time. I do have a vivid sense memory of being in that backyard stuffing my face with kiwi.
Oh my God, because I was writing the song, the back door was open out to the deck. It smelled like it was May, and I was inside and I was sitting there farting around with my treadle, and all of a sudden the song came.
Wow.
The whole song happened in an hour. It just came right through me. And Zane was done. Not even, he was a lump on the couch.
Yeah, he was so baby. Little baby. Tiny baby.
So you guys were she's sewing at the end where she's sewing for her little babies. That was you guys.
Yeah. Catnap song.
Okay, so here we are, 1995. Somebody said, I was at the height of being a famous babe here. Not the height. We were still on the upswing. For all of you listeners, back in the 1990s, I was in a really popular band in Eugene, Oregon, and had a spin-off solo career, and this sewing machine song was part of that. And it was the only song somebody ever asked me to write. I said, Tiara, have you ever written a song about a sewing machine? You're so obsessed with them. And that kind of stuck in my brain for a while, and then that afternoon, I was sitting there farting around. Now, the machine in the song is not the same model that I had in my front room.
Oh.
I think we need to be accurate about
Okay, that is an important detail. Well, this is not literally the sewing machine that you were working with.
It's really similar. But yeah, since this podcast is for machine people, we're the kind of people that look at a movie and go, he's not even really sewing. There's not a belt on the machine.
Right.
We'll get to that movie soon. So the machine that I was sitting there treadling on was actually a white family rotary. But it was black. It had gold decals on it.
Close enough.
But, in most of the world, singer means sewing machine. It's just how it is. So I thought I'm going to have to make this song about a singer sewing machine because I'm a singer-songwriter, so it seems.
Sure.
So then I had to figure out, well, what model would that be? Now, this is after I wrote the song. The song just came out, okay? So, here's the first verse here, or the first couple lines. I came off of the assembly line in 1899. Okay, so, assembly line, 1899. What model sewing machine? Okay, a lot of people think Henry Ford invented the assembly line. He did not. Ooh. Sewing machine manufacturers were using that concept long before Ford was even making cars or anything. So I came off the assembly line, and we saw this in that movie about the Kilbowie plant, how that worked. We saw the assembly line.
Which the audience has not yet seen because I haven't gotten to that project, but it is in the works someday.
But it is attested. It is canon.
Yes.
I came off of the assembly line in 1899. Okay, so what machine would that have been?
Right.
Oh, all right. So I had to go. It's one thing to write a song and say artistic license, whatever. But if you're going to really present this to people who know, you better have it right. So what machine was it? From 1895 to 1957, the 15 class was the one. And it came in, now this is important for later in the song, it came in domestic and industrial versions, which were basically the same thing, except for there was a knee lifter on the industrial machines, and they hooked up to power stands. So this is a model 15-30, the most common thing Singer made. I mean, check out that manufacturing window, 1895 to 1957.
Long time.
This is also the machine that Singer gave all the plans to the Japanese manufacturers after World War II. So pretty much all the machines from Japan during that time were also based on this mechanism. The point being, it's a very common mechanism that would easily be found in someone's house in 1899. That makes sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. This is a at the time, recent addition to the standard machine canon. It's going to be a standard machine for a very long time, but this is when it was new, when it was a recent addition, relatively speaking, in the overall arc of its life.
Oh, and this is Singer's first round bobbin. This is not a long shuttle with a bobbin back and forth thing. Now, that's also important for what happens later in the story. Ooh, foreshadowing. So the Class 15 is a round bobbin with an oscillating back and forth shuttle. And it's really sturdy. It can go really fast. And it had been available for 4 years. So sure, Mrs. Customer, oh, wow, honey, I want that. You know, well, she wouldn't say that. He would say, the little woman needs a sewing machine. So, next line. Paid for by a farmer's wife, $3 at a time. Well, there we have that consumer credit we've talked about that Singer invented in the 1870s. I was doing research about their hire purchase scheme. They are indeed the first retailer in the world that did that. So, yeah, some money down and some money a month. Now, there were two cool reasons for that. A, you could sell a lot more machines, and B, the salesman went to pick up the payment every month from the customer. At the same time, he could check on the machine, he could sell accessories, he might even upsell to another machine. Having contact with your customer every month really built a lot of brand loyalty with Singer as well. Now, I'm not sure if it was $3 down and $3 at a time. I was looking for confirmation of that, and I couldn't find any exact numbers. So that's artistic license, that line right there.
I was going to ask about, was that an actual price that someone would have been paying? But okay, artistic license is filling in because rhyme scheme.
Well, let's talk about Edward Clark is the Singer Company guy after he booted Isaac Singer out. And Mr. Clark proved, I'm reading here from Ismax, I think, proved to be one of the outstanding business strategists. Realizing the limitation of the industrial sewing machine market, he decided to reach more housewives. Given the high price of $125 each for the machine, he developed a program where people could rent the machine with a small monthly payment and own it after a period of time. This was the first use of installment plans by a major American company. Consumer credit was born. So $125 each was like when they were first new. By the time they got down to our story here, I think probably was not near that much money.
So how long did those contracts go for then? Maybe we could math out how much it could have cost.
You know, because so many of them wouldn't be completely finished for that machine. She'd trade up to a new machine, or, and this was the terrible part, if you missed one payment, it could be repossessed. So more research is needed on that. But I do think it was, I don't know what the down was, but the standard payment was $5 a month.
Oh, okay.
And I've even seen some old Singer ticket books where the last one will say paid off, you know, the whole thing.
Okay, so 3 is not too outlandish of a number.
No, 3 to 5 wouldn't put it up to 10.
Sure.
But
yeah.
I figured 3 was good. Shipped out to Western Oregon, where the land was rich and green. Well, yeah, Singer sewing machines were made in Elizabeth, New Jersey at that time. How's it going to get to Oregon? Well, after 1899, we have railroads.
Sure, right.
And again, in the Singer factory movie, we've seen how they packed the machines in big wooden crates and then shipped them off to all various places. So, shipped out to Western Oregon. Now, Singer did not sell their machines mail order. We'll get to a chapter on Sears this year. Singer, you had to buy it from a Singer's store. They were like, it's sort of like Apple back in the day. You couldn't get it anywhere except at the company store.
The cult of Singer.
Right. So there were Singer shops in every little town. By 1899, this was, yes, they were everywhere. Every town had a little Singer representative, and he usually had a wagon with a horse and some machines in the back, and he'd go out and make his rounds, picking up payments, So shipped out to Western Oregon, where the land was rich and green. Well, of course, they're farming. They got there on the Oregon Trail, and they've got a nice farm, and the old lady needs a sewing machine. All right. So old man goes into town, goes to the railroad depot. Yep, your new singer's here. All right. So he picks it up, puts it in the wagon, takes it home, uncrates it. There it is. Shiny, strong, and ready to work. They were even sent threaded.
Wow. Like needle in, threaded, ready to go.
Everything threaded with a sewn sample under the foot.
Wow.
It worked when it left the factory.
Shiny, strong, and ready to work. A new Singer sewing machine.
Oh, and they were beautiful. 1899 was like decal-o-mania was in full force.
Oh, so elegant. So elegant.
So all those pretty decals. So now, her feet were quick on my treadle. She made my needle fly. Shined me and she oiled me. She said I was her pride. Okay. It's a treadle sewing machine. There ain't no electricity in Oregon in 1899. She made my needle fly. My gosh, you've been sewing things by hand for so long. This is flying.
Oh,
Woo-hoo.
yeah.
She shined me and she oiled me. Now, this is very important. These machines came with half the instruction manual was how to take care of it because it's a machine.
Right.
It's the first really complicated machine in the home.
Right.
So there's a lot of information on how to take care of it. Exploded diagrams where you're supposed to put the oil. Oh, oil. Only use Singer oil. Only use Singer needles.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you could use any sewing machine oil or any gun oil. Those are also very fine little moving parts. What kind of oil? Well, 1899, it was probably still sperm oil. Spermaceti was still the most common oil. And you can find those old bottles that say Singer #1 sperm on them. It's like sperm was sperm
Singer
oil.
sperm.
Sperm oil comes... What is sperm oil? People are like, Okay, well, it comes from an organ in the head of a sperm whale. That's kind of the organ that it uses to echolocate where it is. It's called the melon. It's a big hollow sphere full of this amazing lubricant. And sperm oil was used to do sewing machines, watches, any fine machinery. So oil, petroleum oil, was discovered in Pennsylvania, and that's a whole nother thing. But sewing machine oil, there was a crossover between using spermaceti and new light petroleum oil, which happened in the 1880s, along with kerosene and stuff like that. We'll get into petroleum and sewing machines later. So she's gone to her Singer shop, or he came in his wagon, and she has some oil. And she uses it. And she uses it to shine the outside of the machine as well as lubricate the internals. And most of those old cabinets will have a bracket for your oil can. It's right there. You're supposed to oil that thing every project. Said I was her pride. She said I was her pride. Kind me and she oiled me. She said I was her pride. Well, look what. My God, look, come over here. Oh, she's got a new sewing machine. Oh. And when all her friends see it, of course, they're going to, next time they see that Singer wagon come down the street, hey, Mrs. Customer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. People coming over to admire the machine, to admire the stitches, to admire how much faster it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like it's a new thing, especially if you had the first one in town.
Right.
I was doing some more research last night about Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, yeah. And
the 2 books where sewing machines happen. And again, you're going to have to stick around for that one. That's a great one. So she made trousers for husband, clothes for little girls and boys. And the whirring of my big flywheel was a welcome, joyful noise.
Big flywheel, because it was a treadle.
Yeah, that big old wheel.
But it is a soothing sound, like that rocking,
Oh, yeah.
Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, as like the thing switches back and forth, and the like big whirring hum that goes under that, and the of the needleworks on top.
The sounds.
I mean, I grew up, as you guys can tell, I grew up with a treadle getting used around me. So, and I've used a treadle a lot. And they are an incredibly soothing cacophony. Truly.
Oh, that's a good phrase. Soothing cacophony. The early long shuttle machines were quite loud. So our 1530 here that Mrs. Pioneer is using would be much quieter. And then the quietest of all were the Wilcox and Gibbs chain stitch machines. And that's how they sold them. Quiet, light running. But this 1530 that she's sewing on would have a real similar sound to what you grew up listening to, which was that white rotary car.
Yeah. And I mean, the labor-saving potential of a machine that is quiet, not falling apart, not rattling, quiet, right? Like it's that much more efficient as a machine because it's, becoming a quieter din, a duller roar.
Yeah. And the quieter it is, the more your actual body energy is going to run the machinery. Right. I have heard stories of singer-salesmen that went to, let's say, the wilds of other continents, and tribesmen would come out and see this new thing, and to them, if it wasn't loud, it wasn't good. It's not impressive. So the salesman would loosen a few critical. Not like it wouldn't make it not work, but it would just make it louder. And it's, okay, yeah. I want one for each of my wives.
Like those people that take the mufflers off of their cars and motorcycles to make them louder, like that kind of energy.
More impressive. Of course, if you're out in the wilds of somewhere and you've never seen any kind of machinery before and this little thing comes along, you're going to expect it's going to be, the glory of God. Make more loud.
I guess.
So it was quiet, but it was a welcome noise. And like you said, the labor-saving potential. It says here in the song, she made trousers for a husband, clothes for little girls and boys, in the plural. We're talking 1899 farm family here. And because it was an 1899 farm family, now we go to the bridge, the first bridge. I don't think I can play it on the ukulele. She gave me to her daughter when that girl became a wife, and I was with her 50 years till the end of her good life. This was intended to be kept passed down. It was a valuable tool, very well made and sturdy. Of course she passed it on. It's probably going to whichever daughter sewed. Oh, so-and-so. Betsy went to New York to be an advertising agency. Celine wants to sew. Let's give it to her. Okay, so, and then the machine was with the daughter for 50 more years till the end of her good life. My paint was worn, my heart was strong, my stitches straight and fine. So the machine still works, kind of worn out looking. I was sold at a county auction in 1969. So I had to do all the math to get these numbers right. But the county auctions in farm country, that's where liquidated household stuff winds up if nobody wants it. It gets auctioned off.
Right. You can get some amazing old functional farm stuff that people just literally held on to until they were really old. And they don't make them like they used to. But here's an example of what that means. Because, this machine is only, 70 years old at this point. And, like for most machines now, 70 years old is impossible to imagine that a thing's going to last 70 months, much less 70 years. But like an old sewing machine from the 19th century, of course, 70 years, it's barely middle-aged. It's fine. Whatever. Don't worry about it.
Totally. It's got a few, biffs and dings on its face like all of us old people do.
Right, but no big deal.
But we still work, dang it. 70 years. I'm looking around at my machines here. My newest machine is from 1972. What a young pup. But I've got plenty that are from before 1899. I've got 4 or 5 that are that old. Anyway, so here's our poor little machine at the auction. And her treadle stand, her paint's worn, her wood's got, where Mom pushed her hand across it, sewing for years and years. Okay. The auctioneer. I know auctioneers, they're fun guys. Well, the auctioneer was a fine old man. He handled me with pride. Said his mother had one just like me, and I had no flaws to hide. Well, of course.
Don't make them like they used to. That's his vibe.
This thing was ubiquitous.
Exactly.
This machine was everywhere. His mom even had one. He knows this machine. He's confident about selling this because he knows how good it is.
Yeah.
We'll start the bidding. Gather round. You all know the routine. Who'll give me $50 for this Singer's sewing machine?
In 69?
Well,
For an old machine?
$50. The auctioneer is a pro. But his concept of value is off because he's an old man from the heyday of sewing. In his mind, his mom had one. This is a valuable thing. So we'll start the bid and gather round. Come on, folks. Let's start it off at 50. Now, I've been to farm auctions with my Aunt Joanne and Uncle Bob. Sewing machines, the first things that get sold is all the tractors and all this and that and the other thing. And then the piano and the plow. And finally, at the end of the auction, there's all the household stuff. The sewing machine, I've picked up sewing machines for $2, $5, $10 that were just like this. No hands were raised. Ooh, that sounds scary. Well, no hands were raised. No bids were drawn. The crowd was looking bored by an old black treadle stitcher whose paint and wood were worn. Oh, and here comes the best line. No fancy stitches, no built-in light, no electricity. And people just don't sew much now. They get their clothes from factories.
Boom.
Oh, that's the whole linchpin of the whole song right there.
Mic drop. Now you know where we get that line that we keep saying from. Now you know where electricity. You know where it comes from now. Congratulations.
My poor kids. You guys got earworms from all this.
It's okay. We were going to do ukulele on something. It might as well be original, at-home, artisanal stuff. No fancy stitches. Now remember, we're 1969 here. No fancy stitches, no built-in light, no electricity. So by 1969, European and Japanese machines had totally taken over the sewing machine market. Singer was pretty much on the decline at this point. They didn't keep up. They had a lot, and there's a lot of reasons why, and we'll get into that at a later episode. But they refused to make a zigzag until the late 50s. This was a fail. Electricity, we talked about that in an early episode. You could even buy kits to electrify your old machine. But all this built-in stitches, zigzags and all that, buttonholes. So why would we want to pay $50 for this old thing that only sews forward, straight? Doesn't even have a reverse. And it doesn't even have a light. I mean, come on. Like, a light is just basic common sense. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, the part where people don't even want to sew as much, like, that's the part that always gets me. Is like, people don't sew much now. They get their clothes from factories. And like, because I was raised with you as you wrote this song, like I've always been very aware of like the whole factory, like clothing situation. But, my awareness has gotten worse, better, whatever in recent years. And it's just like the sadness of that, like so much human misery in these factories so that people could be disconnected from the skill of sewing and the ability to clothe themselves out of found materials. It's just, it's heartbreaking.
Oh, it's terrible. I was writing this song down line by line and just writing down some notes about what each line means. And this one I had to just stop and grok it because this is the whole thing. Why doesn't anybody want this? Obsolescence of style and function in modern society.
Yeah.
People have been sold up to bigger, newer, fancier, shinier, and they just can't see the value in the old thing because American culture is always focused on growth and new and progress.
What a difference 70 years can make.
So here's the crowd standing around. Oh, it's 1969. They're probably not looking at their phones. They're probably smoking.
Sure, yeah.
But one man made a bid that day. $5 was his price. And no one counteroffered. Though the auctioneer asked twice. The auctioneer can't believe $5?
Yeah.
But a bid is a bid, no matter how insulting, and he's there to sell stuff.
Yeah.
So there it goes.
Damn.
So now we're talking about who bought this machine. He jammed me in a long tin shed with others just like me. Rows and rows of obsolete black Singer sewing machines. So is this guy a vintage machine hobbyist or what?
Right, yeah, this could go a lot of directions. Like, is this guy a collector? Like, what's going on? Why do we have a shed full of them? Why are there rows of them? Is this just they all look pretty together? Like, what's going on?
What is he doing? We're going to find out on the next episode. But we're going to leave you there today. The machine has been sold. It's jammed in a warehouse of some sort with a bunch of other ones. And this part of the song was in a minor key, so you know it's sad and foreboding. You might want to go back and listen to the tune now and think about what we've said about this first half, and then join us next week for the second half. Thanks for listening today on Used to Sew, and stay threaded.
And there you have it. The first half of our line-by-line discussion of TR's sewing machine song. We covered the first 70 years of the machine's life, the people who owned it and took care of it, and the changing context of the society it existed in. You will have recognized that TR has been mulling on the thesis of this podcast for longer than podcasts have been a thing, and that those issues are as present now as they were 30 years ago. I am personally really into the line-by-line dissection of works of art. My flagship podcast is called The Wheel of Time Spoilers, because the whole point of the show is to reread the Wheel of Time books and dissect every line in the context of how we know the various plots resolve. To get to talk with my mom about her creative process 30 years ago, when I wasn't aware that all moms weren't singer-songwriters or even how to tie my own shoes, is a very fun iteration of that pattern. Also, I legitimately just love this song and can easily get it stuck in my head. Electricity, etc., etc. Next week, we will return to our hero in the warehouse of other obsolete Singer sewing machines to see what becomes of this functional antique as 1970 rolls around. If you can't wait to find out the ending, there are links in the show notes for a YouTube video and Bandcamp purchasing. As a reminder, we are unofficially sponsored by Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends, and also with money, at patreon.com/used2sew. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at used2sew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.